Okay, I've started the recording. So let's go ahead and get started. All right. So I want to welcome everyone. We're doing the Michigan Elementary Primary Team Chess Championship on Saturday. It's at West Bloomfield Middle School. So you should have this flyer. We have it posted on our a link on our Google Drive, so you should have access to it. I also want to make a note that we do also have a high school and junior high team championship coming up on February 25th. So any of the kids or teams that participate in this event are going to be eligible for the junior high tournament. So they're welcome to participate in that one, and that's at Oakland University. And then in addition, we also have our individual scholastic championships. That'll be March 11th and 12th. For the only the high school kids will play both days. All other age groups will be just playing on Saturday that weekend. So that's at Lansing Center in downtown Lansing. So those are our major scholastic championships for this time of year. And we also host another scholastic event in the fall if you haven't been to that one. So there'll be more information coming on that later this year. So what I want to do is kind of go through my typical pre-tournament announcements, so you have an idea of what those will be before the tournament starts. So hopefully you'll be a little more prepared, or be more prepared, because sometimes the morning of the tournament can be a little crazy and people aren't always sure where to go. So starting off with the middle school itself, it will be playing the tournament in the gym. So the playing area will be placed in the gym. They have a covering for the floor. I'm going to be arriving there tomorrow to set up and get a better idea of the layout and everything. I don't know if we'll be able to allow spectators in the gym. I'll see when I get there. A lot of it's going to depend on the layout of the site. And once I get a better feel for that, I will make that announcement on Saturday. They also have a cafeteria / auditorium combination. So that will be our Skittles area. Now some groups will have team rooms, and I have contacted those groups. But for everybody else, the Skittles room will be the cafeteria / auditorium. We will also do the awards ceremony in that room. So because they have the auditorium, we'll bring the trophies into there onto the stage and do the awards from the stage in that room. So for this tournament consists of teams of 4 players, up to 4 players, and there must be at least 3 players to make up of a team. So like if a team has 3 players currently registered and one of them doesn't show up, then the 2 players that are left are not going to be eligible to compete as a team. It has to be at least 3 players to compete as a team. If something like that does happen, those individuals may still compete or play in the extra rated games. So they're more than welcome to stay and play if something like that happens at the last minute. But you can have 3 to 5 players on a team. If you have a team of 5, that means you have an alternate where 1 player has to sit out each game, and it's up to the coaches to decide who sits out each round. We do not choose that for you, but they must still stay in the same order. So board order, each team must be in a specific order. Now, generally, if there are ratings, you can go in rating order, but the intent is that the order is by strength. So the strongest player plays on board 1, the next strongest on 2, the third on 3, and the next on 4. If you have an alternate, then they would be the 5th player, and you must stay in that order. So if you have a team of 5 and player 2 sits out, then 3 must play on 2, 4 must play on 3, and then player number 5 would play on 4, staying in that same order. And the team must remain in that order throughout the entire tournament. you can't switch because let's say, player 4 won and the other ones didn't. You can't say, well, since he won, he might be a little better, so we'll move that player up to board 1. It has to stay in that same order for all 5 rounds. So I have a picture here that I wanted to show. Where's my pictures? There it is. Okay, so not that one. So this one here. So this is a setup from a previous tournament. So it gives you a pretty good idea of what the tournament setup is going to be like. What you'll see is boards grouped in boards set up in groups of 4. So every 4 will be a team versus team match. You'll see a table header, which gives it the board number. So the teams will be paired by the team, not individual pairings. And when they're paired as a team, the team will go to that one board number and you'll see 4 boards next to it. Board 1 should always sit next to the header. So if like here, you can kind of see it's 307. If you're on board 307 and you're black, then the board 1 would sit on black side on 307. If you were white, then board 1 would sit on white. The boards alternate white and black on 2, 3, and 4. So basically, if you're white, your team is white. Boards 1 and 3 has white. Boards 2 and 4 will play black. So that'll be the same case for every round. So if your team is that color, make sure that you sit on that side of the board, and the boards will be set up automatically to rotate colors. So the team will sit on the same side of the board or of the table. So just one note here I put in, the match games are even though they play as a team, the individual games between players are to be played without assistance. So teammates cannot comment on the games themselves, and all questions and issues should be directed to the TD. So if a player has an issue or a question about the game, they should raise their hand and summon a TD. They should not consult with their teammates. There are some exceptions around wanting to understand the score. And so I asked that the players will ask, the TD to understand the score. We'll have, and if we have to, we may summon a coach to understand, but the coach cannot assist with the determining of how to play the game, only of assisting with what the score is. So that's pretty common for each of the games. So it's important that the games are played individually, even though they're summed up for each match. So because it's a match of 4, if the score is 2-2, then the match would be drawn. And if the team the team that gets 2.5 points or more would win the match. So that's the key, is that if the team wins the match, then they get a point as a team for their match score. And that's how we determine the team trophies, is by how the teams do in a match. The TDs for this event will collect the results. So players should, when they're done, both players should raise their hands and summon a TD, and the TD will ensure that the game is recorded accurately on the match slip. And I will get to I'll cover the match slip now. So when the players sit down, each game or each match will have a slip that looks like this. It'll be color coded, so each section will have its own color. I haven't determined those yet, but we will have specific colors for each section. So you'll write the section name here, which round we're playing in, and which board, which would be the table number that's assigned team. If the team's
weekend tournament.
Excuse me, someone's not on mute.
The tournament director, the bald guy.
Yeah, free.
Please go on mute. I'm trying to see who that is. Okay. So it's at the beginning of the round, It's up to the coach or a parent captain to fill this out. We don't want the kids to fill it out. We want the parents to fill it out, or the coaches, to make sure this is filled out correctly. So again, section, round, and board number can be filled out. And then each coach or captain should fill out their side, putting the team name next to the color that they are. So the team name should be listed above here. And then the players that are playing each round will be filled in here. So just first and last name should be filled in to ensure that we have a complete result. Sometimes some events, they just filled in the first name, and sometimes that makes it difficult. If a team has an alternate, be sure to put the players in the correct order in what they're playing in that round, with the person that's sitting out will not be listed for that round. If there's a team of 3, then place boards 1, 2, and 3 on the score sheet and put no player. And if you're playing against a team of 4, then make sure you alert the other team that there is no 4th board, so that team, that player can go play extra rated games. If we, for some reason, we have a team 3 versus 3 match, then that match is best of 3. So it's critical that we fill this out ahead of time properly with complete names and all the information of the schools and the board information. The TDs will try to fill it in best they can when the match is complete, but it's really important that we have that set up properly, so the TDs don't have to fill in a lot of the information as they collect the results. All right. So again, extra rated games. So there will be extra rated games, assuming we have enough seats for everybody. The tournament has a good attendance, so we are definitely going to be filling up a good chunk of the seats that I had ordered from the school, and I'm hoping to make sure we have more so that we have enough to cover everybody. Just a second. Sorry, someone's not on mute, and I can't figure out who it is. Oh, here it is. Okay. There we go. I think I caught them. All right, that's better because I was getting some feedback. All right, so next, so extra rated games. So we'll have a spot for extra rated games, assuming we have enough boards to cover extra rated games. These are assigned randomly. We'll try to avoid, obviously, team versus team pairings or school versus school. The K3 will be paired separately from the K5 and K6, and that's because the K3 does not require USCF. And the reason it doesn't require USCF is that they have a program called Junior Tournament Player Program. And so if the section involves 3rd grade and under only, then those players do not require USCF. So if we have a mixture of 3rd graders versus 4th and 5th graders, and the 3rd grader doesn't have a USCF, if we match those up, then I cannot submit those for rating because it'll get rejected by USCF. So it's very important that we keep the 3rd graders separated from the K through 5 sections and the K through 6 sections. So we will have labels to identify where the K3 section players should go and where the K5 and K6 players will go. Equipment. So we will be providing boards and pieces for all the games. So those boards that I showed you in that picture, they will be set up ahead of time. And so you're just able to come and play with the sets that we provide. But we do ask that you bring clocks. So if you do have a clock, please bring it. If a clock's available, it must be used. It's not an option. Clocks are required for this event. We will have a vendor available selling clocks and other equipment on site. So if you want to pick up a clock on Saturday, you can do that. If we do have games where neither player has a clock, we will start those games without clocks. But what will happen is if a game is running along, we do have a few clocks available, not enough to cover everybody, but we do have enough so that we will put clocks on games if they are running long, but they will be placed, the clock will be placed on the game with very little time. So it's definitely to your advantage to start the game with a clock so that you have your full complement of time. The time control for this event for all players will be game in 40 with a 5-second delay. So that means the clock should be set with 40 minutes on each side and a delay of 5 seconds. Be sure that you have your clock set before you arrive on Saturday. The TDs will not have time to set people's clocks. It's important that you know how to set your clock before you arrive. If you don't understand how to set your clock, I recommend that you go to YouTube and look up the make and model of your clock, and there should be videos available for just about every clock where you can go and see a video on how to set the clock. So make sure you have that clock setting correct before you arrive. All right, so next, notation. Notation is required for all players. Obviously, in the K3, we'll have some younger players that are just learning to write. All that we ask is that they make an attempt. So it could be check marks, it could be just writing the letter of the piece that they're moving, or you know, if they know how to take notation, they should be taking notation. The rule is that the player should take notation until one of the players is under 5 minutes remaining on the clock. So if both players have more than 5 minutes, they should be continuing to take notation. Once one player has less than 5 minutes left on the clock, then neither player is required to keep score. For this event, because it's a rated event, it is touch move, meaning that if you touch a piece, you're required to move it. If you touch your opponent's piece, you're required to take it, and that's if you can legally do so. If you are reaching for a piece and a piece gets knocked over, or let's say a piece is not centered on a square and you want to center it, then you are allowed to move it by saying adjust, and that should be done only on your own time. It really shouldn't be done on the opponent's move. When it's a person's move, it's their responsibility to touch the pieces. If there's a disagreement, one thing that I see a lot of times when there's a disagreement about a touch move, players will kind of get into an argument. We don't want that to happen. Be sure you raise your hands, and both players will have an opportunity to state their case to the tournament director, and then the tournament director will make a ruling, and that ruling will be final, so that we can continue with the games. But be sure, then the other part of the touch move rule is that once the piece, the player, as long as the player holds onto the piece, they can still make a legal move with it. But once they let go, that piece is committed to that square as long as it's a legal move. So if there are illegal moves, then and notation is available to correct it, we will correct it. If we don't have the ability to correct it through notation, then we will do our best to work with the players to try to correct it, the best we can based on the position, and then continue the game from there if required. So again, if there's an illegal move, please raise hands. The other part of the legal move is that the opponent of the person who made the illegal move does get 2 minutes added to their clock. So, but the tournament director must do that. The player should not do that on their own. Cell phones. So no player should have a cell phone in their possession during the game. So if there are some of the older kids have cell phones, they should make sure and leave them with their coach or parent and not bring them into the tournament hall. We really don't want those in there and having an opportunity of those going off. Spectators. So we usually say spectators are separated from the playing area. If the stands allow for it and it's easier, especially for like monitoring of the younger kids, we may allow parents and coaches to be in the gym monitoring games to make sure that the players have especially younger players make their way with their parents out of the gym, and they don't have to try to search for them on their own. We'll try to make sure we do that. But it's very important, if we do leave parents and coaches in the tournament hall, that there is no visual contact between players and coaches. We've had that in the past where there was it was too much of a distraction, or there was a instances of accusations of cheating. So if we have that, in this case, we will have to go back to everybody out of the gym. So, obviously if we do allow people in the gym, it needs to be quiet. It needs to be just so that you can observe without interacting with the players. All right. So my other notes. So I'm assuming a lot of you received this email, but I want to kind of go through some of what I put into the email. I talked about the match slips. I talked about the team versus team event. Check-in. So parents should be checking in with coaches or captains. They do not need to check in with us, the TDs. If there are players missing or cannot attend, and it causes where a team can't compete, then the coaches should contact myself through email or text or on site if we have to make adjustments in rosters because of missing players. And so we can get those adjusted before the round starts, but we really need to do that by 8:15. If you're letting me know that information after 8:15 in the morning, it's really too late for me to make adjustments because I need to make pairings by 8:30, and that's the only way we're going to get this tournament started on time at 9 a.m. So I ask that any parents or any coaches or captains, make sure if you know players are not coming, let me know as soon as possible via email or text. I probably will not be able to answer my phone that morning, so I really ask that, and I really want that information in writing, so that's the best way to contact me is if you do it through email or text. So my information is on the flyer. So again, I recommend everybody have a copy, print out the flyer, and keep it with you for the weekend. My information's up here, jeffchess64@gmail.com is my email. My phone number's here. Feel free to text me if you have information that's critical to the tournament. Also in the email, I included a link that I had found to a site called Chess Parent. So it has a tournament prep link here. So if you haven't checked that out, I really recommend that you do if you've received this email. Actually, I'll go ahead and put that in the chat so that people can go see that. Where'd the chat go? There. Oh, that's not it. There we go. Okay, so here's this. Oh, some people didn't get the email. All right, so let me give you the flyer. So here's the link to the flyer. Get this link. So here's the link to the flyer. So that way you have the flyer. All right. So for for USCF, I have not. So if you registered via USCF via the registration system, I have not had a chance to process those yet. I will, depending on how much I have to do as far as processing for the tournament, I'm planning to begin those tonight. So I have not done USCF registrations yet, but I will do that as soon as I can. Yep, so 40 minutes. So time control is 40 minutes on each side with a 5-second delay. So make sure that the clocks are set appropriately. Individual buys are not available for this tournament. Only team buys are available. Because it's a team event, there are no individual buys. So if a player can't attend, then you either have to play, if you have a group of 4, you have to play as a group of 3. If you have a group of 3, that 2 players cannot compete, so the whole team would need to take a bye. If you have a group of 5, then if a player cannot attend, you just would have to sub in an alternate. Because this is a team versus team event, you have to compete as a team. So no individual buys are available. So again, check-in, there is no check-in time. The tournament will start at 9 a.m., meaning I will plan on posting pairings at 8:30. So the goal is to, if I can have pairings posted at 8:30, that'll give you enough time to find where you belong and get to the boards. You should check in the morning with your coach or captain, whoever's in charge of your school team. That's who you check in with, so they know that you are there. So as far as let's see, there was a form that you showed at the beginning that needs to be filled in after each game. Are we supposed to help with filling it in? Again, this form is filled in before the round starts, not the results, just the player names, the team name at the top. So if your team's assigned white, fill your team name in it on the white side, and then fill in the players, board 1, board 2, board 3, board 4, both first and last name. And then the other team captain will fill in the other side. So you only fill in the side for your team, and then one or the other of you can fill in the top information. The results will be filled in by the tournament directors. So if a game's complete, so when board 1 white plays board 1 black, and that game is done, the players will raise their hands. The tournament directors will come and confirm the result and mark the result here. So this should be blank when the round starts, but everything else, names and the top information, should be filled out before the round starts. And then the tournament directors will complete it, and once all the results are in, then they will turn it into me, and I will enter the results into the computer. So we will post physical copies of the pairings. It'll be the team versus team pairings. For the teams that have team rooms, we will bring a copy of each set to those rooms, and we will post post pairings. Ideally, my goal is to have it somewhere near the cafetorium. When I get to the school, I'll have to see the best place to post something. And I will also post results as the rounds complete. So we will post team versus team results and also individual results to make sure that we have the right information for the matchups. So the other thing I wanted to show is online. We will have online pairings. And so that will be available at this link. Let me post that link in there. So this is the link to our online information. As you can see, I already have an initial setup here. Now this is not complete yet. I'm still working on updating this, but as of last night, this has all the teams that I've entered so far, and then the individuals. The teams for the pairings, that you always make sure you go just to the team versus the team section. The individual pairings, it'll make some assumptions based on board order on who's playing who with for the individuals, but that is not consistent with the board numbers, and because of alternates and other players maybe missing, that may not match up with the actual team versus team event. That's why it's important to fill out the match slip so that we can get that set up right. But as the event completes, you will be able to see the individual results online, and also we will have that posted. So right now, if you want to go in here, you can look up like registration list, and it does have like players listed in each section alphabetically. And if you look over here, it has their teams, the team that they're on. Now, if you notice, this team name is not going to match what's on the online registration list. This is a team code I'm creating, so it's obvious which school that is and which team they're a part of. So it'll be a little easier to find those players. Now, in some cases, some coaches haven't sent me the rosters yet, So I need to, some of them I just entered all the players under one school. So there might be a whole list of players under a single school until those coaches send me the rosters. But I just wanted to get players registered, and then I can make adjustments to the team rosters as that comes in from the coaches. So coaches or captains, if you haven't sent me your roster yet, please do that now, because I need to know before. I'm going to be at the school starting at 4 p.m. tomorrow. It's about an hour drive for me. So I need to have as much of this filled in by that time, so I know how to set up all the board numbers for the different sections when I arrive on tomorrow on Friday. So please send that out as soon as possible if there's any coaches that are on here. So what I did want to do, let me go back. I wanted to show an example of what a pairing is going to look like. So if I come back to events, so we did use this program and this website last year. And so if we come to February of 22, let me go too far. Here it is. So here's the 22 elementary team. So for example, what I can do is I can go to, in this list, I can go to current pairings, because remember, I want to go team by team. So in this case, here's the board numbers. So this section had started on 201. It had, Monroe versus Okemos, Hiawatha versus Redford Service. So this is where you're going to find out, this is what the team pairings are going to look like. So it's team versus team. So the whole team will go to 201. Now, in this case, the results are in because this tournament's complete. But when you look up the pairings for round 1 tomorrow or on Saturday, it'll initially show as blank. And then once the results are in, then you'll be able to see, and I pair the next round, then it'll show round 2 with the pairings for that round. So I really encourage people to use this as much as possible. It should streamline us getting the rounds together much quicker, and it's been really useful tool especially for our individual events. But that's why I've started using this program for our team events, is because this does help us, and it does have some. And also, you can go back and look at some of the history as well, which is kind of nice. So again, so one of the questions in the chat, where will the results be posted? So again, it'll be posted online, and I will have a spot in the school. I don't know exactly where the results will be posted in the school. It'll be posted in the same areas where the pairings will be. And my goal is to put that as closest to the cafetorium where the Skittles rooms are, or the Skittle room is, as I can. I haven't been to the school yet, but I will be there tomorrow, and I'll have a spot set up for that, where you'll be able to find it. And hopefully what I'll try to do is get some like flyers that kind of point you in that direction. But I do ask, as much as possible, please use the online system that's where I posted this link. And again, work with your coaches. Some of the coaches have been around a while. They know what they're doing. And so work with the coaches, because and they can communicate with me to make sure we have the right results. All right. This is not the place for asking for registration changes. So I'll make a note that I am no longer updating the online registration. It should have closed just a few minutes ago at 8 p.m. I am not making updates to that anymore, because I've updated the tournament, or I already have a lot of the players entered into the pairing program. So again, if you want to check your students section, you can go in here. If I've received emails from you already, that should be done in this part of the program. So you can look up, let me go to registration list. and it has an alphabetical list by last name of the player. So if it's on here and it's still wrong, that means your coach has not given me their roster yet. So you need to contact the coach and have them send me their roster. Do not send me updates anymore, because I will not be updating online registration. Within each round, how do we figure out which player is assigned white or black, or is the whole team assigned the same color for each round? So I did go through that earlier, so you might have joined late. The team is assigned the color. And if you look on this match slip, so I went through the match slip, the team is assigned the color. So if your team is assigned white, the board 1 on that player will have white, board 2 will have black, board 3 will have white, and board 4 will have black. So that's what these WB means, white and black. If you're assigned black, you will be black on 1 and 3, white on 2 and 4. So it's alternating colors. And going back to the picture, so I have a picture of a previous event. The boards will be grouped will be set up in groups of 4. If your team is black, your board 1 will sit on the black side. Then board 2 will be on white, board 3 will be on black, board 4 will be on white. So that'll be, every board will be set up, and board 1 should always sit next to the header, the table header. So if your team plays on 307 here and you're black on 307, you'll set up on the black side, all on the same side, and you will alternate colors based on how the boards are set up. And it'll be the same way for every round. The whole team is not the same color. There's alternating colors, so you get equal colors each round, unless you're playing a team of 3. Then a team of 3 will have an odd number of colors in that case. All right, I think I've covered all the questions in the chat. Make sure I didn't miss any. All right, so if anybody has other questions, you should be able to use the raise hand feature. And then I'll ask you, I'll call out your name and I'll ask you to come off mute. Is there anybody that has questions? You know where that's at? If not, I guess just put your question in the chat. It should be under, let's see, I looked at that. Where's the reactions? So yeah, you should have, if at least on mine, on my Zoom, I had on the right hand side, there was the 3 dots. Under that, it has reactions, and there's a spot for raising hand. So like I just raised my hand. So I'm gonna put my hand back down. But if anybody has a question, please raise your hand so I can see who has the question, and I'll ask you to come off mute to ask the question. So I want to make sure I have all questions answered. And again, this is being recorded so that other people, if they want to see it and view it, they can see it later as well. All right, so Trello Kayant, can you come off mute? Let me see.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a
Question?
Do we have to wear any jerseys or any school?
Jerseys?
Yeah.
No, there's no requirement that you dress alike. The key is that you make sure you're with your friends, right? So if you're part of a team that has a coach, the coach will help you get aligned. Some schools have a lot of players, but if you're just in like a school that just has you and your friends, what we would like to do is that if it's just like a group of parents that have worked together to put together a team, that like one of the parents acts as a captain, and they kind of lead to identify the board number when the pairings are posted, and help the team get aligned on the boards. So we really ask parents and the coaches, and then for the parents, if it's just a team of parents, it's really best if like one parent kind of takes the lead as the captain. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. Any other, let's see, anything else in the chat? Feel free to, I'll give it a couple more minutes. But I hope this is really helpful because I know especially if you're new, it can be very confusing, especially first thing in the morning. I'm going to be there at 7 a.m. Saturday morning to kind of complete the work I need to do to get things ready to go. But most people, you can get there probably between 7:30 and 8 and be fine. Oh, one other thing I wanted to mention, there will be concessions available all day. They will have like coffee and donuts in the morning for breakfast time, and then they will have like pizza and hot dogs through the day. So I do please ask that you patronize the concessions. They are asking, it's cash only, so make sure you bring cash for concessions because they do not accept credit cards at the concession stand. So that's one critical thing to note, is that please bring cash for any concessions, and then that you plan on getting while you're there. I'm not sure of what's available around there because I'm not from that area. So I don't know all the if there's like fast food or other things to go out and get food. And the other note, if you're part of a group that will have a team room, there's no food and drink allowed in the team rooms. So if you're part of a team room, you still will need to eat in the cafetorium. And then we also, because we'll be on the gym, we ask that there's no food or drink in the gym as well. All right. Any further questions? Check the chat again. Anybody else have a question in the chat? All right. So I think we're going to end. Oh, no, new messages coming in. Oh, okay. Yep, just some thank yous. Okay, I want to try to get up more up front. We're getting a lot of new players, not just in these type of events, but even in our individual events. And so I want to be more upfront with getting information out there ahead of time to try to ease things on the morning of the tournament, because it can be very chaotic. And this event, so last year we had a little over 100 players, and I'm approximating we're going to be at about a 250 players this weekend. So it's basically 2.5 times what we had last year, which is pretty big. But when I first started helping out back in the early 2000s, we actually used to run this event with about 600 players. So it's not as big as it used to be, but we are growing again. We're seeing some growth after COVID. People have found playing chess online. And so we're getting a lot of new players who are new to in-person over the board tournaments. And so we're really happy about that. We want to welcome everybody. And so we want to be open and communicate with players and parents and coaches. One last thing that I want to kind of point out for quick information on MCA events, we do have a Facebook group. So if you're on Facebook and you want to join our Facebook group, this is the link to our Facebook group. And we do have, actually, you could also look up Michigan Chess Association, which is kind of our business name. You can like that as well. And so I'm usually trying to post information about events and on our Facebook group, and also through our MCA business account. So try to get information out there as fast as possible. The other thing that you can do, we do have a website. Let me pull up our website as well. Here it is, Michigan Chess. So michess.org is our website. So you can always look up, we have chess clubs, we have events, calendar. And if you come down to the bottom, we do have so like if you didn't get the email, you can put your email address here, and join our email, kind of our email blast. So if you would, when I send out an email like I showed, if you put your email address into here, if you didn't get it, that should add you to our email list. I usually try to make sure that I add all the emails from people that have registered or people that are joining MCA. And the way our system works now, you might get emails for all of our events. So if you're not interested in, like, we'll have a senior event, we'll have women's events. So if you're not interested in those, just ignore those. But we try to cover, a lot of our different events via email and through, and send out information through that, through our Facebook group, or through our website. So we're trying to get as much information out there up front as we can. And we hope that improves your experience with attending one of our tournaments. So thank you for joining. If there's no more questions, we'll go ahead and close it out so we can, and I can get this posted and I can continue working on registrations. And again, check the swisssys.com website for registrations. I will update that later tonight before I go to bed. And then if I get more information, then tomorrow I will update it before I head to the school tomorrow afternoon. So everyone have a good night, and glad you could attend. Thank you very much.
I don't think that's how you wear it.